All right, I think we should start getting ready. Thank you, Dr. Sreya, for agreeing to be part of this webinar series that we're covering for residency programs around the world to help people absolutely for free. So please join in every Saturday, 5 p.m. Saudi time, to find out about different boards. I'm sure that there's definitely going to be something that serves your purpose and you will find the right board for you. Today we have Dr. Sreya Varanasi. She is a pediatric resident, and huge thanks to her for agreeing to be part of this. And I really hope you guys find it very useful. Please share any questions you might have in the chat box, and at the end of the session, Dr. Sreya will be really kind to answer them all. Should we start, Dr. Sreya?
Yes, absolutely. If everyone's ready.
Yes, I think we can start. Are you able to present your screen?
Yes, just a minute. All right. Can everybody see the slide?
Yeah, it's visible for me.
All right,
Is
great.
it working for everyone else? I think everyone can see it. Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
great.
great.
So let's begin then. So hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sreya Varanasi. I am a year two general pediatric resident in Al Jalila Children's Specialty Hospital, Dubai. Today, it's actually a great pleasure to be presenting this to all of you. The transition from medical school to residency is actually the most crucial or critical turning point in our medical career. And through this journey, there's actually a lot of questions that come up in our minds that where should I be pursuing my residency? What specialty should I be choosing? And if you are clear about where you want to do and what specialty you want to take up, then the questions are about how do I apply? What do I do next? How do I prepare for interviews, et cetera, et cetera. And every country has its own template of how the residency applications are designed and the requirements that they have. So in the UAE as well, getting into residency is a very competitive process. There are a lot of requirements, and frankly, each year these requirements keep getting updated. More requirements are being added, and a lot of changes are happening in the healthcare structure here in UAE. There is a move to unifying the entire academic process, the healthcare or medical academic process here in the UAE. So a lot of updates do keep happening. Now, whatever I'm presenting today, I have included as much as I can to the best of my ability, the most latest updates in the residency process here in UAE. However, I strongly recommend that once the application season begins, which I will tell you about shortly, once the application season begins, I highly recommend that each of you do go through the links that I have put across in this presentation. I will also share this presentation with Tasneem so she can circulate it to everyone. Please do keep clicking on these links and checking the requirements and application deadlines once the application window opens, because a lot of updates are happening and I'm not fully aware of what the process will be like for the next academic year. But what I'm sharing right now is what I have gone through personally and what I think is most important. Most of the requirements will continue to stay the same, but new things can get added and new systems may arise for the selection process. So just keep track of it through the links that I'm providing in my presentation. Also, just to let you know that this is my second year in residency. So the process I used to get into residency did undergo a slight amount of change for the batch that is now year one or the batch that is now junior to me. So they've had merits. And for us in the UAE, when it comes to applying for residency after medical school, we have three main governing institutions that take care of the training and residency programs here in UAE. The first one is Department of Health, which belongs to the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Then Dubai Health, which belongs to the Emirate of Dubai. And then Emirates Health Services, which belongs to Sharjah and the Northern Emirates. This includes Ajman, Al Quwain, and Fujairah and Ras Al Khaimah. Now, Dubai Health is a new institution. What I mean to say is that Dubai Health was previously known as Dubai Health Authority. However, now this year they've undergone significant changes and have transformed into a new institution called Dubai Health. This Dubai Health now includes an umbrella of more number of hospitals from the government and the private sector as part of the internship as well as residency training programs. Dubai Health is also now inclusive of our major residency training institution, which is Mohammed bin Rashid University. So I will explain more about Dubai Health as we go through the slides. Overall, when it comes to eligibility requirements for each of these institutions, they are more or less the same. A few requirements may plus or minus between these institutions, but what I have done in my presentation is that I have collated or put together all the common requirements for these three institutions, including the extra ones. So what I would suggest is when you go through this list of requirements, please make sure you meet each of these criteria and keep them ready. Then regardless of which institution you are applying to, you will have all your requirements with you. If you have extra requirements that you meet, it's always a plus. And it's always something you can add on your CV and display. It makes you stand out, which I highly recommend. Before applying for residency, do um, think about the specialties that you want to apply into, and you should strongly have a passion for those specialties that you're applying into. Your curriculum vitae should strongly focus or reflect on it should radiate the specialty that you want to apply to. Say, for example, and I'll talk about pediatrics because that's where I'm in right now. So when I was applying into pediatric residency, I made sure that my curriculum vitae was pediatric focused. This gives an idea to people who are in the selection committee that you are very clear about the goals that you have, about the specialty you want to be in, and about what your direction or career path looks like, that you have a fair idea of what your career path looks like. This reflects very well in your residency application. So make sure that you have a strong ambition or you have a clear cut goal as to what specialty you're looking into. So now we have these three residency application institutions. The links that I've provided on this slide are for the registration for application in each of these individual bodies. When applying for residency in UAE, there is no one common portal for all 7 Emirates. You have to apply individually to Department of Health, Dubai Health, and EHS. So you have to send out 3 different applications. You can't, there is no central or there isn't a single platform where for all of UAE. It's split into 3. So you have to send out 3 different applications, one to DOH, one to Dubai Health, and one to EHS. These registration links are the ones that are now on this website. These registration links include the login registration portal, as well as the requirements portal, the eligibility criteria, the deadlines, the timeline, everything. So our application season begins from February all the way to April. So technically or typically, our application window starts from, say, around 1st of February until April 15th. These application windows keep changing every year, but it's usually between Feb and April, never earlier and never later. So make sure that you go through each of these websites um, between February and April so that you don't miss out your application deadline. Now, in Abu Dhabi is our capital city, our capital emirate, and we have a lot of hospitals within Abu Dhabi that are part of the residency training program. Now, the hospitals I've mentioned here are only a handful of the ones that are in Abu Dhabi. We still have many other centers, medical centers, and hospitals included in the residency programs there. Almost all specialties are now available for residency in the UAE, not just Abu Dhabi. And most of these hospitals offer these specialties. In Dubai, these are the hospitals that we have in our residency network. So Rashid Hospital, Dubai Hospital is for mainly internal medicine, surgery, dermatology, radiology, family medicine, etc. Latifa Women and Children's Hospital is specifically for obstetrics and gynecology. And Jalila Children's Specialty Hospital is exclusively for pediatrics, pediatric neurology residency, and all pediatric subspecialties. Mediclinic network is a private network, but some pediatric rotations are taken in Mediclinic. For example, we have some primary care, we have some NICU rotations, which we do in Mediclinic. There are private hospitals which are now being included in the umbrella of residency and training in Dubai, and this is part of the initiative of the new Dubai Health Institution. So, Fakir University Hospital recently opened their internal medicine's residency program, and there are several other private hospitals that are slowly joining the network. More information is not yet available to us, but will be in this coming residency cycle. So application to each of these Emirates is the links which I've given in the previous slide. So you don't have to apply individually to these hospitals. Once you get chosen into residency, you will be posted in one of these hospitals based on which specialty you have been chosen into. You only have to apply through one portal, and all the hospitals in that emirate will be covered as part of your residency program, inshallah, if you get chosen. Then the next one is residency eligibility requirements. Now we have something called a Unified Healthcare Professional Qualification Requirement, or PQR. This is an important document for both UAE graduates and non-UAE graduates. So I highly recommend that you go through this link to make yourself aware of what steps you need to follow for for a non-UAE national, or uh, um, there are different categories. So we have UAE nationals, we have non-UAE nationals, and we have graduates from within UAE and graduates outside of UAE. This PQR gives clear definitions of requirements for each of these categories. Now, the PQR is applicable both for residency and for seeking a physician's or a GP license in UAE, be it in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, or in the other Emirates. So I highly recommend that you go through this document and familiarize yourself with what requirements you need to meet so as to be eligible for both residency or for a general practitioner's license to practice here in the UAE. Next, in the requirements, these requirements are similar or the same in almost in all the three institutions that you have to apply to. So make sure that you have all these ready with you because they're common for all the three institutions. Your photo, your passport copy. If you're a UAE resident, then a UAE residence visa. If you are a resident of the UAE or a citizen of the UAE, then Emirates ID. If you are a UAE national, then family book. If you are a foreign applicant with an Emirati mother, there are certain requirements as mentioned on this slide. And if you are a wife of a UAE national, there are again certain requirements as mentioned on this slide. For UAE nationals who are males, they have a mandatory national service that they need to do. So you require a certificate of completion of this national service as well. This is one of the eligibility requirements. The next one is regarding your medical school and academic requirements. So here you have your bachelor's degree. Now there is a clause that no more than 5 years should have passed since completion of medical school, which means from the date of graduation of medical school, you have 5 years to be eligible to apply for residency in the UAE. If 5 years has passed from the date of graduation of medical school, then unfortunately you will not be eligible to apply in the UAE. So it is 5 years from the date of graduation of medical school and 4 years from the date of completion of internship. This again depends on what kind of medical program you have been in. Here in the UAE, up until my junior batch, we have always had 5 years of medical school plus 1 year of internship. So this was our medical school structure here in the UAE. Now this year, they have changed it to a 6 year curriculum. So it's now going to be 6 years of medical school with an MD graduation. In other parts of the world, there are different durations of the medical school program. But this is the standard outline that for anyone who has from the date of graduation of med school or from the date of completion of internship, that's the time that they calculate. So 5 years from date of graduation and 4 years from the date of completion of internship. Next is your transcript. Now, regarding your bachelor's degree, The bachelor's degree transcript and internship completion certificate have to be attested by the UAE Ministry of Higher Education. This is a requirement both for UAE graduates and non-UAE graduates. So ensure that you have your documents attested by the Ministry of Higher Education, because these attested documents are required at the time of application. Also, the medical school that you've studied in should have been listed under the World Health Organization. For the transcripts, there is a new rule now in Abu Dhabi that a GPA of 3 and above is required for non-UAE applicants. And this is a new eligibility requirement for the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Then internship completion certificate. The internship program should be a minimum of 1 year duration. And this 1 year should have been done after completion of the bachelor's degree. There should be no gap between graduating from medical school and starting your internship. So there should not be any discontinuity between graduating medical school and starting internship. Then your CV. The CV is everything, including your experience, your work experience, any electives, clinical attachments, your extracurricular activities, research, publications, conferences attended, skills, then any of your strengths, uh, certifications that you have done, anything that contributes to your medical career is in your CV. The stronger your CV is, the more likely that your application will be considered for shortlisting. Like I said, your CV should strongly reflect the specialty you want to be in. So ensure that the activities that you do, including community engagement, volunteering work, are having a heavy weight on the CV nowadays. So research, volunteering, community work, this adds a lot of value to your CV. So make sure you engage in these kind of activities. And it should strongly reflect the specialty that you want to be in. Having a clear goal of where you want to be and what you want to do, how you see yourself 5 years from now, what your future goals and ambitions are. These reflect in your CV, and this strengthens your residency application. Experience, this is graduates who, after completion of internship, have had, so for example, you've completed internship, but you have a gap year. You haven't matched into residency immediately after internship. So you get a gap year. In that gap year, if you have done any experience, say, for example, you got yourself licensed as a general practitioner and you were working in a clinic or a hospital, this is work experience. So any of these experiences you have done, you need to ensure that you have a certificate to prove that this experience has been completed. Regarding your degree and internship attestation, for those whose degrees and internship certificates have been issued outside of the UAE, that is for non-UAE graduates, ensure that your documents are attested by the UAE embassy of the country you have studied in, also by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs within UAE, and you need to get a certificate of equivalence from the Ministry of Education. All of these attestation criteria are clearly mentioned on the respective websites of the respective ministries of the UAE. This is very user friendly. It's all online. You don't have to come in person. All of these processes can be done online, including the payments can all be done online. It's very user friendly. So please visit the respective websites if you're a non-UAE graduate to get your degree attested. Also, for those who are UAE applicants, you shouldn't be more than 36 years old when applying for residency. For those who are non-UAE applicants, you shouldn't be more than 30 years old when applying for residency. The next list of eligibility requirements is for additional clauses after internship. So, for example, after internship year, you worked as a general practitioner somewhere, in a clinic, in a hospital, or anything like that, or you have obtained a health license to practice in the country that you have studied in. You have to present this license as part of your application. Any good standing certificates, this is required if there is any experience that has been done outside of the UAE, or if you have done an internship outside of the UAE. You need a good standing certificate from the institution where you have taken the experience. Then there is also an option here in the UAE for existing residents to change their specialty. This offer is only available for year two residents within the UAE. So any of us year two residents currently in the UAE, if we want to change our specialty, we have that option only in year two of residency. For that, we need to get a proof that we are already enrolled in a residency program within the UAE and we want to seek a transfer to another specialty. So that is what academic status means. If you are being employed anywhere within or outside of the UAE, make sure that you have a no objection certificate from your employer that you are applying for residency. There's also a requirement for English proficiency. So you need to either have done IELTS or TOEFL or the occupational English test, the OET, with the respective scores mentioned here to be eligible. The next is statement of purpose or letter of intent. This is usually a 500-word document which explains why you are choosing a particular specialty as your residency. And why do you choose that particular institution to pursue that specialty? Say, for example, you're applying in EHS and you want to apply for the pediatric program. Then you need to clearly have a document which states why you choose pediatrics in the first place and why did you choose EHS to pursue pediatrics and not anywhere else. So the statement of purpose or letter of intent is to express your thoughts as to why you choose particular specialty in that particular institution. Then have at least up to 3 letters of recommendation which are not more than 1 year old. So all the letters of recommendation you provide should not be more than 1 year old. These letters of recommendation should preferably come from faculty, from doctors, be it clinical faculty or academic faculty, or in belonging to the specialty you are applying to. So that adds more strength. Of course, you can also take letters of recommendation from faculty that don't belong to the specialty you're applying to. But if you take it from the specialty you want to pursue, it definitely adds more value. Then BLS is mandatory here in the UAE. So basic life support. This is a certification that is mandatory for application for residency here in the UAE. So make sure you've completed a BLS certificate and that you have a valid BLS. BLS is something that has to be renewed once every 2 years. So if in case your BLS has expired, do make sure you renew it. The next is a copy of the birth certificate, then a copy of primary source verification report for all your certificates. Now I'll talk about PSV in the next slide with steps on how to do it. Like I mentioned, there is a clear rule that you will not be eligible for residency if you have crossed more than 5 years from the date of graduation. If there is a discontinuity of clinical practice of more than 1 year, you need to bridge that discontinuity of practice by doing clinical attachments here in the UAE. So you need to do a minimum of 6 months of clinical practice here in the UAE to bridge that discontinuity of practice, and then you will be eligible for residency in the UAE. So usually, I did come across a few doctors who had a discontinuity of practice post internship. There should be no discontinuity between your medical school and internship. There should be no gap at all. But post internship, there is a possibility that discontinuity may happen for any circumstance. Life is unpredictable, and we do come across different circumstances in life. So, in case there is any discontinuity of practice post internship, you have to bridge that gap by doing a clinical attachment in the UAE for 6 months, and this makes you eligible. More on how to bridge your discontinuity of practice is mentioned in that PQR document I spoke about in the very first slide. So, please do go through that. Now, primary source verification or data flow. This is a process through which all the certificates that have been generated for you, be it your medical degree, be it your transcript, your internship certificate, your English proficiency, all of these official documents have to be proofread and have to be verified by data flow. This verification ensures that your documents are authentic. So now, the Department of Health Abu Dhabi and Dubai Health, as well as Emirates Health Services, all require you to have a valid primary source verification result for all of your documents. Going through PSV is very simple. When you apply in each of these institutions, say for example, you're applying in Department of Health, you will have to do a PSV specifically for Department of Health. This is how the website page looks, and that's the link provided below on the slide. So you'll have to register yourself on this and upload your documents, pay the application processing fee for data flow and get your data flow result. Data flow results typically take 30 to 40 days to be generated. And once your data flow result is generated, make sure you download it and keep a copy of it because the data flow result expires 90 days from the date of generation. As in, the data flow document is valid for up to 2 years from the date of generation. But the result will not be available for you to view on the system after 90 days of the result being generated. So make sure that you download a copy of your result and keep it with you. Now, there is a very good thing about data flow that if you do data flow for the Department of Health, you can transfer the same data flow to Dubai Health and Emirates Health Services. So you don't have to repeat the process 3 times. Only for data flow, you can do it once and use the same result for all the 3 institutions. So that's the beauty of data flow because it's a centralized database. This one is for Abu Dhabi. This one is for Dubai Health or Dubai. So it's the same data flow website, but just one portal is for the Department of Health and one portal is for Dubai. So now you need to have completed also, you have to pass the Emirates Medical Residency entrance exam. Now I will speak about this as well towards the end of this presentation. Now, regarding the residency entrance exam that is being considered as a mandatory requirement for residency application, up until today, it has always been Emirates Medical Residency Entrance Exam or EMREE, as we call it. However, this year, the latest update on EMREE has not yet been released on their website. So I highly recommend that when I show the link for EMREE, please do go through that every week starting from now, because now is the exam season. So please do go through the EMREE website to see if there are any updates on EMREE. There is no latest information yet as to the EMREE exam. Uh, there has been speculation or there has been some talk in the recent past about EMREE being replaced by IFORM. I'm sure most of you are aware that IFORM is the International Foundation of Medicine exam. It's something, IFORM has two components, the basic science and the clinical science component. And IFORM is valid for 2 years. This IFORM, passing IFORM is now being considered as an exit exam in all medical universities here in Dubai, in UAE, not just Dubai, in UAE. So there has been talk that IFORM will be now considered as one of the residency entrance requirements, but no official information has been shared with us yet. So as of now, it's still EMREE, and I'll talk about EMREE. So passing EMREE, your medical school degree and transcript, your medical internship certificate is important. If in case you have a discontinuity of practice, then like I said, please go through the PQR document to know how to bridge that gap. If you're a non-UAE national, you are eligible to apply for residency for 3 successive years in a row. For example, you've applied the first year, you couldn't get in. You can apply the next year, you couldn't get in. You can apply one more time, and after that, you've exhausted all your attempts to match for residency in UAE, and you'll not be able to apply again. In Department of Health, once you open the application in Department of Health, there are a few extra documents that they specifically require. This Dubai Health and EHS do not require. But Department of Health requires a few extra documents, for example, a declaration form and an e-Tarasol form. The templates for these forms will be available within the application, the online application itself. So you don't have to search for it anywhere on the internet. It's already embedded within the online application. You just have to download the template, fill it up, scan it, and upload it on your application. All applications are done online. All application fees can be paid online. The application fees are revised every year, so please make sure that you keep up to date with them. These additional requirements are for you to add on your curriculum vitae and strengthen your application. Educational credential evaluators are for those graduates who have studied in medical school outside of the UAE. This is not required for those who have studied within UAE. Outside of the UAE, you will have to do this mandatory thing called educational credential evaluators. The link is provided here. This basically helps to translate all your marks into the standardized GPA scoring system of UAE. So this helps in shortlisting process. The next one is extracurricular courses. You need to have at least 2 extracurricular courses This could be in public speaking, in leadership, in communication skills, even in quality control in medical field, or ATLS, ACLS, POCUS, which most of you I'm sure are aware of, point of care ultrasound testing. Any of these you can do as extracurricular courses. You should have minimum two. You should also have two community engagement courses. This could be organizing any public event in relation to health. For example, you went to a school and spoke about the ill effects of vaping to teenagers. That counts as a community health event. So any of these, they do add value to your medical school. Whatever I've listed are examples of community engagement events. Then you have to have at least one published article in an index journal, which means it's not just having the abstract of the article or the paper itself and not publishing it. You have to make sure that your research is published in an index journal, and that link needs to be provided. Say, for example, you have done five researches in your journey through medical school. Some of them could be case reports, some of them could be literature reviews, some of them could be even clinical studies for that matter, or questionnaire studies. Regardless of the number of researches you've done, you should have at least one published research article. The rest of them, even if they aren't published or are a work in progress, don't forget to mention them on your CV. It's at the end of the day your hard work. And they are in the process of publication. I'm sure nobody keeps it waiting. Everybody likes to publish their hard work. So do mention it on your CV. It does add value. If you have any research proposals that are underway, and you have gotten approval for this research from your research ethics committee of the respective hospital or institution you're in right now, you can even put the approved proposal on your CV. If you've presented in any conferences, won any prizes, regardless of whether you won or not, if you've presented in any conferences, that also adds value. Any academic awards that you have achieved, any research based awards that you've achieved, all of this goes into your CV. Now let's talk about EMREE. So EMREE is, up until now, our standard medical residency entrance exam. Every year, we have to write the EMREE and get a minimum passing score. Now, the minimum passing score is 65%. This year, there has been a change that for UAE nationals, the passing score is 55%, and for non UAE nationals, it's 75%. You have to get this minimum passing score to be able to even apply for residency. So you have to pass the exam and to be able to apply for residency. The exam is a total of 3 hours duration. We have 120 MCQs, single best answers. So you'll have 4 or 5 choices for each question to choose the best answer. Some could be recall questions, some could be clinical based scenarios. All of them basically test your medical knowledge. This is no different from most of the other international exams that we are exposed to. The subjects that we have as part of this is literally everything we go through in medical school. So internal medicine and its subspecialties, surgery and subspecialties, obs and gynae, pediatrics, psychiatry, community health, public health, statistics, biomedical statistics, all of these things. So make sure that you start studying and preparing for this if you're interested in giving MD. The EMREE cycle typically starts in December. So by now, we should have actually started our EMREE cycle. I haven't seen any update about that on the website, unfortunately, but I'm sure there'll be an update coming soon. So our EMREE cycle typically starts in December and goes all the way till March. Exams are conducted every Sunday starting December to March. And I'll explain to you more about how you register for the exam. The weightage for each of the subjects that is tested on this exam keeps changing every year. So the blueprint, you have to go through it. It's on their website. Just go through the blueprint and get a clear idea of the weightage for the year that you are applying or appearing in. Who is eligible to write EMREE? Anybody who is a medical student in their final year of medical school. So you have to be in the final year of your medical school. Final year of medical school means someone, if that means that if you haven't started internship, you can still apply for EMREE, which means you're in the final year of medical school. Anyone who's in internship year, anybody who has graduated from a medical school listed in the WHO directory, it could be an MBBS or MD degree, you are eligible to give EMREE. The required documents is similar to that you need for residency, but just that it's way shorter than what you need because this is just to apply for the exam, not for residency itself. So the passport copy, if you are a UAE resident, then the residence visa copy. If you are a citizen or a resident of the UAE, then an Emirates ID copy, the passport photo, your attested medical school degree, transcript, And if you are in the final year of your medical school, you need something called a certificate of eligibility from the dean. The dean of your medical school has to provide a certificate of eligibility. The template for this is available on the EMREE registration portal. Again, it's online entirely. And uh, you just have to download the template, get it filled up from your dean, signed, stamped, and scan it onto your application. The examination fees is again an online payment. This fees keeps getting revised every year, so make sure you go through the website. This is how you register for EMREE. This is the link for registration. First, you need to register yourself. Once you register yourself with your details and the necessary documents, then you have to wait for at least 48 hours to receive a profile approval on your email. Once you get the profile approval, then you are eligible to apply for the exam. Now, application for the exam is only possible in the enrollment period. The enrollment period for the exam is typically 14 days prior to the date of the exam itself. And all seats are allocated for the exam on a first come, first served basis. So the moment the enrollment opens for an exam, make sure that you have uh, gone to the website already. You should have received your profile approval and apply immediately so that you don't lose a chance on sitting for that exam. So, for example, if the exam was to happen tomorrow, then 14 days prior, they would have opened the enrollment for tomorrow's exam. And you should have applied immediately so that you ensure that you have booked a seat for your exam. Now, the resources to prepare for EMREE. EMREE style questions are very similar to all the clinical scenarios you come across in most standardized international exams. This could be the PLAB, the USMLE, the Canadian exam, etc. So you can use first aid, step two for USMLE. You can use UWorld, Plavable. There are also lots of Telegram discussion groups for EMREE. And on these groups, there are also some recall question banks that are put up by seniors you can go through. So make sure that, of course, all the lectures you've gone through in university are your guide on what to study. You can use any reference tool or book that you feel comfortable studying from. So questions are all international standards, so you can refer to any international exam book and you'll be able to ace your EMREE easily. Even the reference books for the individual subjects are the standard reference books you use in medical school. Nothing fancy, nothing different. When appearing on the day of the exam, make sure you bring your original passport. If you are a resident or citizen of the UAE, then your Emirates ID and your registration confirmation email on to sit for the exam. The results of the EMREE are typically released within 14 days of you writing the online exam. I mean, this exam is entirely computer based in Alain. It's conducted in Alain University, the UAE University in Alain. The results are online as well. Like I spoke about, the passing score is 65%, and there's been a small change to that. In Abu Dhabi, for non-UAE nationals, you need 75%, and for UAE nationals, 55%. So aim for a high score. The higher your score, the better your chances of being shortlisted in your residency application. Now, when the score is generated for EMREE, they typically generate a percentage and a percentile. Both matter. Percentage is your performance in the exam, and percentile is where you stand in the cohort of students who have taken the exam on that particular day. Both of these matter, but what matters more is what percentage you get. More than the percentile, it's the percentage. If, um, um, God forbid, by some circumstances you were unable to clear the exam within one EMREE cycle, so one EMREE cycle is from December to March. If within one EMREE cycle, if you were unable to clear any one of the exam that you sat for, you have up to 4 attempts to clear the exam within one cycle. So if you haven't been able to clear the exam the first time, you have up to 4 attempts before March to pass the exam. But if you have passed the exam, then regardless of your score, you cannot retake this exam again. So when studying for this exam, aim for a high score. Aim to score well during the exam, focus on the questions, do your best, and then make sure that you get a good passing score. Because if you don't pass, then you have a chance to write again. But once you pass, whatever score you get, regardless of what your score is, you cannot retake this exam. These are all the links for EMREE, how to register, what kind of questions you get in the exam, everything. These are the links. Please go through that. What happens after you have, now these are all the requirements you need for your application. So all the documents you need, I've told you about it. All the portals you need to be going through, I've told you about it. The exam that you need to clear, I've told you about it. What happens after you have you've met all your eligibility criteria, you've put them all in your application, you've submitted your application. What next? Next is the shortlisting process. So the individual committees for each of these institutions will scan your application. You can apply in all the three, like you can apply in DOH, Dubai Health, and EHS in the same year simultaneously. You can definitely feel free to apply in all the three places. There's no restriction. They will then scan all your applications and then they will shortlist candidates whom they want to take to the next step, which is the interviewing step. Once you get shortlisted for the interview, you appear for the interview. The interviews are now conducted in different styles for each of these institutions. Department of Health typically likes to take face-to-face interviews. So they'll call you to the hospital, you'll be with a panel, with the program director, and all the important faculty of the program will be there in the panel. They will ask you questions about yourself, about your interest in the program you're applying to, about your goals, your future ambitions, then also some clinical-based questions. Um, it's basically a face-to-face interview. In Dubai Health, they do it in a different style. It's called MMI or multiple mini interviews. So MMI or multiple mini interviews is similar to an OSCE, but in this OSCE or MMI, they don't test your clinical examination or history taking skills. They focus more on the soft skills or vocational skills. That is communication, ethics, time management. These kind of soft skills are what they test in your MMI. They don't test your clinical scenarios or like do a physical exam in 5 minutes or take a history in 5 minutes. No, they will focus more on your communication skills. They'll focus more on your vocational soft skills. Then, after you have completed in Dubai Health, once you've completed your MMIs, again, they shortlist candidates who have scored well on their MMI and take them to the next step, which is the specialty interview. The specialty interview is where you sit face to face with the program director and the faculty of the program, and you have a closed one on one interview with them. If you're in EHS, again, they take an MMI and they may or may not do a specialty interview, depending every year it keeps changing. So that's something you just need to keep track of. In Abu Dhabi, once you've completed your interviews, they have something called a rank order list. So you need to list the hospitals um, that that are in order of your preference. That's only in Abu Dhabi, and more about that will be told to you once you reach the stage. Then you get matched. Wherever you get matched in the UAE, you are sent an email telling you about where you have been matched. And then you have the choice now to, the next thing is for you to reply and respond as to your choice. Would you like to take the seat or no? Now, there is something wherein if you decline a position that you have been offered in any of these institutions, then that means that you have a chance again to apply in that same place one more time. So for UAE nationals, they have 2 times to apply again, but for non-UAE nationals, there's only one time. My honest suggestion is that wherever you get matched, please do take the seat. Residency is a very competitive process. More every year, the number of applications are increasing. It's highly competitive, and being chosen into a residency program is one of your important career milestones. So make sure that wherever you get matched, please do accept the offer. This is about everything about what you need to do to get into residency here in the UAE, like as in your application process, what you need to be doing, everything. Now, before I close my talk, I just want to give you an overview about the different boards we have here in the UAE. So, residency programs here in the UAE, regardless of which emirate you're pursuing in, each specialty is accredited by a certain board. So, most of the specialties here in the UAE are either accredited by the Arab board or the Saudi board. We have a new board called the Emirati board, which has been started this year. Now, some programs have been accredited by the Emirati board. More programs are being accredited day by day by the Emirati board within the UAE. So this list keeps getting updated as to which program is getting approved or accredited by the Emirati board. Emirati board is a tier one accreditation here in the UAE, which means that post graduation, once you complete your residency, it's easy. The road to consultancy is easy. You become a consultant easily. Whereas Arab board and Saudi board are tier two qualifications. About these tiers, more information is given in the PQR document I first mentioned in the first slide. So please go through that. So my program, the one I'm in right now, the pediatric program in Al Jalila, is accredited by the Emirati board. Um, Regardless of which board you are in, if you're in Arab board, Saudi board, or Emirati board, each of these boards in the course of residency have their own requirements to graduate every year in the residency program and have their own certification requirements, which is the part one, part two exam. More of this you will come to know once you get chosen into your program and you start the specialty that you have been chosen into. Updates keep happening in each of these boards as well. So you will get to know all of them once you enter the program that you have been selected into. So your very first step is to get selected. Post that, you will then know which board you are in, whether it's Arab board or Saudi board, and is your program also Emirati board accredited or not. Most programs here are now applying for Emirati board accreditation, and many of them are getting accredited. Like I said, my institution is already Emirati board accredited. So at the end of my residency program, I will be having two board certifications, Saudi board and Emirati board. That's it regarding the entire residency process here in the UAE. Now I'm ready to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Sreya, for this amazing presentation. Guys, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask Dr. Sreya. She'll be very happy to answer them. Yes, Dr. Ahmed, this meeting will be recorded and you can watch it later. I'll be uploading it on the YouTube. Please keep in check the Instagram account, Momentous Cuts. I'm going to share the account link as well. All the video links will be uploaded there. We have a question from Rad. They said, how many sets for plastic surgery? I think she meant how many seats for plastic surgery in 2023?
As far as I'm aware, plastic surgery is not a separate residency in the UAE. For surgical specialties, you first have to do general surgery as your residency, and then fellowship is plastic surgery. This is what I'm aware of. Now, I'm not a surgical resident, so I'm not the best person to answer this question. However, the distribution of seats for each specialty in each emirate is released in the time of the application window. It's not available for public view right now because application window has not yet opened. So once applications open in February and March, in each of these emirates, they will tell you the list of specialities that are available for residency in that year, the number of seats available for each specialty, and the number of seats available for that specific specialty in each of the hospitals that you will take the training. So as far as I'm aware, plastic surgery is not a separate residency in itself, but probably that may be a change this year. So just keep track on the website as to the seats about it.
Thank you, Dr. Surya, for answering that. Anyone else that you would like to ask anything? Is it possible to do internship in UAE after graduating from a medical university outside UAE?
Absolutely, most welcome. If you complete your medical school outside of UAE, yes, you are eligible to do internship here. Internship here in UAE is exactly 365 days in duration, starting from the time of graduating medical school. Like I said, there should be no gap between your completion of medical school and starting internship here. So I suggest that if you're in your final year, please apply for internship in the coming cycle so that you don't miss out or get a discontinuity of practice. In case you do have a discontinuity of practice, like I said, go through the PQR document and you can bridge that gap. So the discontinuity of practice rule applies both for between medical school and internship and between internship and residency. Now, the requirements for applying for internship here in UAE, I have not covered in this talk because this is specifically for residency. But again, applying for internship again is through these three institutions. So Department of Health has its own internship program. Dubai Health has its own internship program affiliated with Mohammed bin Rashid University, and EHS has its own internship program in the Northern Emirates. So again, the requirements, the links, and how to proceed with your internship application is clearly mentioned in each of these three websites. Please do go through them to get more information. But you're more than welcome to do internship here.
All right, we have another question from Dr. Samir. He asked, what about the availability of family medicine departments for non-nationals? And is the Saudi medical exam enough?
As far as I'm aware, until the time that I applied for my residency, and I think even for my immediate junior batch, family medicine was the application to family medicine residency was only exclusively for UAE nationals. However, I am not. There may be an update where they will start including non-UAE nationals as well to be eligible for family medicine residency. The Saudi medical exam, if you mean the SMLE, this is being accepted as one of, you can put this on your CV as one of your accomplishments, but passing the EMREE is mandatory to apply for residency in the UAE. The SMLE itself is not considered as an entrance exam here in the UAE. It's one of the accomplishments you can put on your CV, but you must have to pass EMREE. There is no second way around it. You have to sit for the EMREE.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Uh, Dr. Noor, she asked, do residents receive a stipend during their residency?
Yes, very much. We receive a monthly stipend in the duration of our residency. Now, how much stipend we receive depends on which program we are selected into and which emirate we are selected into. Also depends on whether you are a UAE national or a non-UAE national. So the amount depends on a lot of other factors, but yes, you are paid a stipend.
All right, I think we have answered all the questions. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. Please tune in next Saturday as well, 5 p.m. Riyadh time, for Canadian board. Dr. Miriam will be covering that. So if you're interested in that, or any of your friends you know who would be interested in finding out about Canadian board, please tune in next Saturday as well. And you can find all the updates in this Instagram account. So please keep an eye out to see what else webinars we're covering every Saturday. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you, Dr. Sreya, for giving your valuable time and your amazing advice.
It's my pleasure being a part of this forum. In fact, I'm really happy to be a part of this forum. And I see there's another question on the chat box about, do you get stipend for an internship in UAE? So the answer to this question is no. You do not get a stipend for internship, only for residency. Internship in UAE is a paid program, which means you will need to pay the institution you are doing internship in. There is an annual tuition fees across UAE for all internship programs, but you will not be paid a stipend for it. Once you join residency, yes, you will be paid a stipend.
All right, great. Thank you, Doctor. Have a good day, everyone. See you next Saturday.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much.